Cannabis Group launches a campaign against marijuana impaired driving, you guys. The Virginia Cannabis Control Authority, better known as the CCA, is making new efforts to warn people about the dangers of driving while high. The authorities rolled out its safe driving campaign to increase awareness of the risks of driving under the influence of cannabis and to highlight the importance of planning for a sober ride. Last fall, CCA issued a survey of nearly 800 Virginians and collected information about cannabis use while driving. The findings show several people admitted to driving high a few times or more in the last year and did not make plans for a sober ride home. Imagine that. Brianna Brandt, a health policy data manager for CCA, said the 2022 survey is concerning. 30% of Virginians think that using cannabis while driving makes driving safe, she said, and people aren't perceiving cannabis use while driving as something to be alarmed by or something that causes impairment. Almost one out of three respondents falsely believe marijuana usually makes drivers safer, according to Burnett. I'd argue those people might be right. You know what I mean? And conspiracy theorists are winning right now, so you never know. The survey also showed just 26% of Virginians saw marijuana impaired driving as extremely dangerous. That's but that has a much lower response rate compared to other risky behaviors like targeting or like texting or drinking alcohol while driving. Burnett said the legalization of medical marijuana may have reduced the perception or risk, but she says that created some alarming data points for us, she said in of the survey. Virginia State Police Crime of Virginia 2022 report shows that there were 1,560 arrests for marijuana violations, including dozens of driving under the influence. And that number is about a 37% decline from 2021, when possession and personal use of cannabis became legal in Virginia. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, also updated crime statistics in their database, which includes data tracked by hundreds of law enforcement agents across Virginia, and it reveals a downward trend of marijuana-related arrests as well. In a quote, the good news is that the numbers in both reports show that marijuana arrests in Virginia continue their downward trend. J.P. Pendini, the executive director of Virginia National Organization, basically of NORML, and he says this lets us know that Virginians made legalization laws that was enacted in 2021 is operating exactly as legislators had intended. Pendy said we can expect the number of arrests to continue to go down, and he also says we can expect post-legalization for marijuana arrests to decrease by about 90%, and that's exactly what we have seen happen in the Commonwealth, he says. CCA rolled out its safe driving campaign by putting up billboards and digital advertisements, as well as radio and television public service announcements to educate the public. And it also includes a social media campaign and partnership efforts with the Virginia organization and businesses to inform Virginians of the risks of driving while high. The ad targets recreational and medical consumers, parents, and friends of consumers. Well. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's
You said
interesting because
arrests have been on the decline. Is that right, Chase?
That's right. And that kind of contradicts the story that we covered yesterday in regards saying that arrests are up nationwide.
you know, I think it's interesting because it says like cannabis group in Virginia. So I looked it up, because Glenn Youngkin killed like the whole forward movement, Jason's boy down there. But the Virginia Cannabis Control Authority it says that they are a subdivision of the government. So I mean they have a .gov website and everything, but it's like a subdivision, like a separate category there. So it's not like they're like another normal or anything. It's like it seems like they're trying to set up, a government-based agency, but Glenn Youngkin wouldn't let them go full government here. So I don't know, man. It's weird.
I don't know. Rico always with the skepticism.
I think smoking makes me drive better.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm part of that one. I'm part of that 1 in 3 Virginians right there. When I'm in Virginia, at least.
I'm too aggressive of a driver when I'm sober.
I mean,
I want to know if it's one thing for arrests for them to say arrests have been on the decline, but what about prosecution rates? Because again, I think that there's a lot of law enforcement officers that are erroneously arresting people from the influence that are not well versed in cannabis DUIs, and the reason I say that is officers are on a standard level trained in alcohol DUIs, but very few officers are DREs, drug recognition experts. In California, less than 2% of cops hold that designation, which is the officers that should be called to the scene if they believe that there's poly drug use happening.
question, Chris. How do
Yeah.
you get more prosecutions with fewer arrests?
How do you get? No, I guess my question was, I wonder what the prosecution rate is, because I think that what we're going to see is again
Oh,
people being arrested for
you're saying that
DUI that shouldn't have.
you're saying that the prosecution rates are going to go down even more than what the arrest rates are going down at then.
I'm curious if they will, right? I'm curious if they will. I think that's the barometer we need to follow, not the arrest rate, because I know for a fact a lot of people are arrested that shouldn't be for being under the influence of cannabis.
Right.
Oh man, you'll love this, Rico. My aunt, she just texted me. Are you ready for this, Rico? My 80-year-old aunt, she says, "Stop the road rage. Stop the street racing. What's wrong with that? Bring on the weed." With a checkered flag emoji.
How old is she, Jason? What'd you give it? Is she as old as Joe Biden yet?
I think Joe Biden's older, but I'm not. You're gonna get her mad. She's gonna start blowing my phone up now because of you.
Big ups to Auntie.